Alright, so we're going to be using Stripe as our payment processor, so these only allow credit or debit card transactions. But if we go here, click viewing testing data, you'll know because it'll say test data up at the top. First, we're going to create a product, so we're going to say add product here. Name, we're just going to say monthly, because for this we're only just allowing monthly. And then we're going to do standard pricing of let's just say $10, and we're going to make it recurring monthly, and then save product. Let's go to customers, click add test customer. Name, it can be whatever, and then account name, account email will be your email that you use again over here. Description, billing information, whatever you want to do. We're just going to click add customer. So really we just needed 2 points of information and we got our customer. So we can click on our customer here and then boom, you can see our customer ID. We can copy this and alright, I am wrong once again. I don't know how much I'm gonna have to go back. I keep circling back. This is like the first time I ever used a checkout session. So we're going to be using this code here instead. I apologize, anyone that's just like, do you even know what you're talking about? Yes, I know what I'm talking about. It's just, I've done things a different way back when I first started, and it actually required different things, like I needed to do PayPal and Stripe. So yeah. Anyways, in our home, so actually all we need is just this. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keeping this, but I had a bunch of stuff that I had and whatever. Okay, so copy that code, or I guess I'll just talk about it in a second. So let's just do H3 subscription is $10 per month. H3. Okay, and then we're going to create a form with the action of let's just do, because we can't have dashes, so let's just do create checkout session method post. We can delete this comment and then input price ID. So this price ID we need to get from products, go to our product, and then our price ID is right here. So we can copy that, paste that here, and then click checkout. So when the user does checkout, we will take them to this endpoint here, and on this endpoint we will have all of this good stuff. So let's see if we still, okay, we still are requiring Stripe at the top, price ID, pass from the client. So yeah, we will do this. We will copy this, and then request. We'll paste this. Wait, oops. Down here, this will be request.body, and then let's copy the remaining of this code. Okay, so so mode, we're creating a subscription. Payment method types is just a card. Line items, which is the price ID, which is coming from the front end, which will be, see, like this price ID matches with this one, which will be great. And then so that'll be passed here. We do not need a quantity, I believe. Checkout session ID is a string literal, so do not change that. So don't change this. So we will just keep that. Success URL. Goes to home. Cancellation URL, I believe. We should just also take them to home. update that. One other thing is I had typed out cancellation URL. It just needs to be cancel URL. All right, so that is deployed. We can go ahead and refresh here. Click checkout and still cannot handle the request. I need quantity. Oh my gosh. Quantity 1. All right, that quantity change is deployed. So now I'm going to go back to home, refresh, checkout. All right, now we're going to checkout. Awesome. Subscribe to monthly $10 per month. Our email, we'll sign up with our email, card information. What we can do here is we can say 4242424242 that many times, and then just any valid date in the future. So we can just say 222. CC fee can be anything. Name on card can be whatever. Yeah. We can say save information for next time. Click subscribe. Say no thanks. And then it sent us back to the home page. Now let's go to our customers portal. All right, one more thing I forgot to add, of course, like always. So when we go to create the subscription, there is one more field called customer that we need to add the customer ID. So let's go here and add the customer. And then now let's go find where I put that customer ID, or I'll just go and find it here. So here, I'll copy the customer ID. So instead of hard coding it here, what you would do is when the user registers, right? When they register, when I was talking about when they register, you would go ahead and automatically create a Stripe customer from them, and then store that Stripe customer ID into our database. So instead of hard coding it here, just before here, you would pull from your database before this function, before this statement here. You just pull from our database, grab their customer ID, and then put it into here. So change that, deploy it. All right, successfully deployed. Now let's go back, go to checkout. And then here, after we have them register, all right, and then once they put in the code, then they'll put in their email address, whatever, and then they can put in their payment details. Otherwise, we're just going to keep using the same one, which is, if you guys want to know, it's just 424242, all like 16 digits of 4242. Any date in the future. CVV can be anything. Name on card, and then whatever else. Hit subscribe. No thanks, we don't want to save that. And boom, they are subscribed. Awesome, that is great to see. So if we go into Stripe, we can go on our customer, and you can see monthly and active. All right, where we left off last time was we made a successful checkout page for our customer, and now what we need to do is we need to capture that moment when they make a payment and create a webhook, and have that webhook send that payment information, just the status saying like, hey, this customer paid, to our backend to update this field right here, the subscription date, so that we know the last time that they paid for their subscription. So let's go. All right, so if you go to developers, then webhooks, click add endpoint at the very top here. And for the endpoint URL, let's go back to Firebase. And then we are going to copy this down here. And then we're going to do / and then let's do Stripe. Let's just say Stripe. It can be whatever name you want though. events to send. What we want to do is have Stripe send us when they made a payment. Subscription created, deleted, pending update. I believe we want payment intent succeeded. If we click add endpoint, all right. And then what we can do now is go back to our project, minify that, and yet again, let's create another function like we named it Stripe. So we're gonna say Stripe equal to functions HTTPS on request. Pretty sure it's gonna have to be an async function, and do request response. All right. So then here, let's just do functions.logger.info, logging out the request body. All right, it is deployed. So now let's go back to Stripe, and we're going to send a test webhook and see if that works. So Stripe going to our newly created function. All right, it looks like our request timed out. Oh, I know why our request timed out. It's because we did not send a response. So if we go to logs, and then we only want Stripe, it should have logged out the request body. And that was my bad. I should have set up a response. There you go, Stripe. There is the body. Great. So what we want to do now is, now that we know that we are receiving it correctly, now we want to actually verify that this request is actually coming from Stripe, because really anyone can just sniff traffic and then say like, oh, this endpoint here has a webhook, and let me just send a fake event, and then they could, you know, pretend like they're Stripe. So we got to make sure that we know that these requests are actually coming from Stripe. So if you see here, signing secret, if you click reveal, select it and copy it. And then what we'll need to do is we go back to our project, and then before we do anything at all, we need to check to make sure that it is coming from Stripe. So we say if, or let's see here. So what we need is we need to make a constant and just get the signature header. So we're going to say sig header is equal to request dot headers, and then getting the Stripe signature header. And then if that isn't there, then we'll just say an empty string. All right, then we are going to create a try catch, and then in the try, what we're going to do is we're actually going to make an object out here called event. Let event, and then here we're going to say event is equal to Stripe dot webhooks dot construct event, passing in the request body, and then the signature header, and then the webhook secret that we have. All right, and that should construct the event if the signature header is the same one, if the signature header turns out to be the same one that was HMAC'd from this body and this secret. Otherwise, if it does come from a malicious sender, then this error will get thrown, and then we can just say response dot status will be 400, meaning that it was a bad request. Let's just say bad request sent. All right, and say return, because we don't want to continue on if we did send out that response. So now after we have that, we want to grab the customer's email from this payment so that we can go ahead and update that document in our database. So let's say let email equal to event.data.object .customer, and then we're actually going to wrap this in a thing. So we're going to say stripe.customers.retrieve. So we're going to retrieve the customer from. So we're going to retrieve that customer from this payment intent, because the payment intent, I believe, does not contain the email. So we try to search for email. Yeah, you can see email here is null. Does not contain any other data. Does not contain. Let's just try to search for Gmail. Obviously we can see it here, but yeah, it does not come back in the response, so we actually need to call a different API to actually grab the email. If we see object here, or let's just copy all this and put this into a new document. And this is what's so great about VS Code, is you can have an extension that prettifies your JSON. So we can say data object, so event data object, and then dot customer, and then where is customer? Customer is actually null. Interesting. Well, let's do this instead. So let's wait on this part, and after we make sure that we have the signature, let's actually go functions logger info, and then let's actually log out the event. Yeah, let's just log out the event. So log out that, and then send a response, response.send 200, status 200, and then we're actually going to do a checkout and then see if we actually can't see that email or that customer data coming back. So we're gonna let this deploy, go back to our checkout page, do another checkout, and then we'll see what data we get back. All right, yet again it's deployed. So let's go now to our checkout page. Let's just hit refresh, go checkout, and then you can see our stuff is already there, so we can hit send. All right, subscription is made, and then now that should fire off an event. Oh, I think I did screw up. So I think we need the raw body here. Let's try that and see if that'll work. All right, deployed yet again. So let's click refresh. Go to checkout. Subscribe. All right. And that should have sent out another request to our endpoint. Awesome, so there you go. There is the request here. And if we copy this and then go back here, paste it, Control-Shift-P, prettify JSON, you'll have to install that extension. So data, object, and then oh, we can actually see the email here in the billing details. If we go to customer, there's the customer ID. Let's see here. But we might not want to use this email, because this will be the email that's used when they do their payment, not necessarily the email that they use to sign up. So we actually need to grab the customer ID, then find the customer that we created earlier. So yeah, you can see that we have it here, object customer, so this should be the customer ID. And then once we retrieve the customer, so after retrieving the customer from Stripe, we can do a little bit of JavaScript magic and do this. So this will actually pull the email property from the customer object that gets returned, because we only just want the email. And then we can do Firestore dot doc, and then get the doc with the email, and then do dot set, and then set the subscription date to. Alright, there's actually no date in this object that is sent to us, so what we could actually just do and say the subscription date is equal to new date dot to ISO string. And then that will get us the today's date and a good format that we can use for later. And then let's await that as well. Cool. So now that we have that going for us, we should actually probably remove that logging statement and then do a deploy. Don't don't put anything onto production where you'll be logging out customer information, because then you'll most likely get into the laws of like the United States and the UK, where you could get audited for it, and then if you get audited and they find it, they could fine you, and then just basically put any of like us small developers out of work. So do not log out any sensitive information like email, name, whatever. You want to try to keep that hidden. So remove that logging statement of logging out the event, and then do a deploy. All right, deployment complete. Now let's try this again. So if we go to our database, we'll see, okay, that there is a subscription date. But if we go ahead and delete it, because we actually put that in there manually. So let's go back to our checkout page, hit refresh, go to checkout, and click subscribe. All right, and then that should send an event. And oh, what'd you know? It sent out that, oh my gosh, we need to do one more thing. I apologize. So we do need to set an option where merge is true. So basically, whenever you do a set, that will basically, it'll overwrite fields and remove fields. So when you add this merge true, it'll basically just append this field to our database object. So we're going to go back and actually, since we know that they are a monthly payer, we can do interval and then set that to monthly. Yeah. So in doing this, this should complete our flow and thus completing our MVP project. So we're gonna deploy out this change here, and then I'll be back in a second. Alright, so that is deployed now. You can see here we still have a subscription date. What we'll do is we'll just delete that. It doesn't really matter because we're going to be sending out both the interval and the subscription date. So go here, click subscribe. That should add the interval monthly and the subscription date. Awesome. Cool. So I think that completes it. So let's just test out this for now. So we're going to open up an incognito. Remember to click on the extension icon that should quote unquote log us in. And then let's just maybe click on this video. So we got 2 seconds. It automatically skips the ad for us. So now let's go ahead and remove these fields. So again, we're assuming that you've set up the register flow for when they first sign into the app, that you grab their email, create a Stripe customer, underneath their email, and then you storing that ID probably in Firestore here. But we just manually added our customer to Stripe because I'm not going to go down that flow. In the future, I will be doing that though, not in this video. This video is already going too long. So so let's say I just installed this extension and I want to automatically skip ads. So I install the extension, I sign into the extension. I've already registered my account on the website, but I click sign in like I just did now. So if I just click on a video, this should not auto skip, but let's say that I'm like, okay, well, it didn't auto skip. And then, you know, you tell your customer, oh, you have to go and buy it. So what I do as a customer, I go to the website, and then I finally get to the point where I pay for the subscription. So I would click checkout, give my payment information, click subscribe, and then that brings me back to the home page. That doesn't really matter at this point. But then we see, oh, we have this customer that signed up. Here's the date that they had subscribed. Now that I'm a paying customer and I have the extension installed, and then I click sign in, great, and I try to go watch a video. Video will play after ad, so that one's not going to work. This video is going to play after the ad. So if I just click on this video, so this should auto skip for me, and it does. We are good to go. We are done. Boom. And that is how you do it, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a very long one. I appreciate every single one of you that has stayed till the end. I only made this a super long video just because I wanted to get this video done with and over with. I know it's been a very long time, but I just, you know, I want to start moving on to other stuff. I'm going to be doing a video on GitHub Copilot, and I got a bunch of whole other ideas I'm going to be doing. But please, you guys, stick around, give a like, comment, subscribe, tell me how I'm doing. If you guys liked this super long video, if you didn't, I'll be doing more in the future. And I appreciate every single one of you so much. And peace out. See you next time.